What is up, geeks and geekettes? It's another episode of the Countdown City Geekcast. We're so glad you're here to join us once again. My name is Ted, aka Steady, and joining me on this episode is the man behind the magic, you know him as Joe Garcia.
Hey, thanks for having me on again. I guess I didn't get booted out like Jericho from my bad takes. That's why Jericho hasn't been on. He's been bad
Is
because
that why?
yeah, he was bad, dude. Like his takes are so bad, we kicked him out. Now I'm just playing.
There
I
you
miss
go.
Jericho. Shout out to you, Jericho. If you're watching, we need you back, man. Miss you. But we're here to talk Rangs, She-Hulk, Andor, and a whole bunch of other things. I heard there was another trailer, a new trailer that dropped. We'll talk about that
Ooh,
probably
we're gonna,
a little after.
a little afterwards, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, last but definitely not least, my partner in crime, it's the one and only Matty B.
We're back. We're gonna have some hot takes on Hot D. You know how much I love that show and Andor, and I can't wait to listen to Joe and Ted talk about Rings of Power. I wait for that every
Oh,
week,
man.
and in fact, I didn't even watch the episode in preparation to listen to you guys talk. That's how much I love your conversation and
Oh
candor.
my god. Oh my god. If you're in the chat, we want to hear from you guys. Let us know how badly you want Matty B to watch Rings of Power. Did he
Rank.
give up too soon? We want to hear from you guys. Did he give up too soon? Let Matty B know in the chat. We also want to hear from you guys, so be sure to join in on the conversation. Yes, we have another full show tonight. There's so much great television right now, right? So we're going to be talking She-Hulk. We're going to be talking Rings of Power, all the latest episodes. We're going to be talking Hot D, House of the Dragon. But first, we're going to be going to a galaxy far, far away and discussing Andor, episode 4. And if you guys have been watching the show, you already know how this goes. We're going to start out with a summary, and it goes a little something like this. Andor, Episode 4, titled Aldani. Luthen and Cassian fly to Aldani. Luthen attempts to recruit him. As we learned, Cassian was a hmm? Cassian was a cook during the Battle of Mumbin. Sorry, I had a little typo there. Luthen wants to steal payroll data from an Imperial sector. He also convinces Vel to include Clem in their plan, which we later learn is to rob an armory from the Aldani garrison. And her team is also not thrilled that someone new is getting involved so late in the game. We want to hear from you guys. Let us know what you thought about episode 4. Gunnar, I see you in the chat. Hey, fellas, how's it going? Going fantastic. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey Gunner,
And
by the way, if you give us 10,000 stars, Maddie said he will watch Rangs if he gets 10,000 stars.
is that what we're doing now? We're going to pay
That's
him
what
to
we're
watch
doing.
it?
It sounds good to me.
Oh, man. Oh man. Well, this is a part of the show where we drop our overview on the most recent episode of Andor. Joe, we're gonna start with you, man. What did you think about episode 4 of Andor?
I guess it just kind of reveals a little bit more about the characters and especially the mysterious character that came and was actually there to pick up Cassian. Not so much the box. He wanted to go ahead and pick up Cassian and kind of, thrust him into the resistance. And I guess Cassian starts to learn a little bit more, but again, he's resisting, kind of ironic in a way because he's trying to tell him a little bit more, and he doesn't want to tell him too much because he doesn't want to reveal a lot about what's going on with the early ongoings of the resistance because there's not a lot of them. They're few in numbers and they're scattered everywhere. So Cassian, he's kind of like, look, man, I'm going to give you a job, and I'll pay you because he knows he's a mercenary. He's up to make a quick buck. But he's hoping, I guess, that by Cassian learning a little bit more about what they're doing, maybe he'll be more inclined to join the resistance. So, episode very unique, very interesting, as I stated, about showing us a little bit more and more about the characters and showing us that the guy that came to pick up Cassian, I forget his name, but there's a little bit more to him than meets the eye. I mean, he put on a disguise and just quickly turned on the acting skills right away, and he's no longer
Luthen.
part of, yeah, he's no part of he's no longer part of the resistance. He's a shop curator. He owns like antiquities and stuff like that, and he just smiles, his fake smile, the wig, the rings, the clothes. I'm like, man, this guy's good. He needs an Oscar.
Well, that's his cover, right?
Yeah,
You gotta remain in the shadows, and so he does it really well. For a second there, I'm like, is he cosplaying as a
right.
senator, Senator Palpatine? But no, it's
Yeah.
definitely not the same guy.
Another
Um,
thing too, Ted, is the interesting part is we start to learn a little bit more about where the money comes from, where the funds are coming from to fund the resistance, which I thought was very revealing as well.
Absolutely, for sure, for sure. Yeah, a lot revealed in this episode. And yet I still feel like it's a setup episode, and it's not a bad thing. But it's definitely setting up the next episode, which we all assume is when their plan goes into effect. And it sounds like it's going to be sort of a big action episode because they're robbing an armory from an imperial military base, and we've already learned sort of the elements that go into that. So it should be a big action sequence. Maddie B, your overview on episode 4 of Andor.
I liked it. This one kind of brought me back in. I didn't love the first three episodes. Um, it didn't feel like Star Wars. If you tuned in last week, a very animated response to that. But this one kind of brought it back for me a little bit. I one of the things, the costume design in this one, I really really loved, especially with some of the Imperial costumes. And then again, we get to see Mon Mothma, and I wanted to see a story from her for a very very long time. It's very cool to add her back into it. So with those elements, it definitely brought me back in. And with the antiquities dealer, I mean, obviously a ton of Easter eggs in there, a lot of lore, not only from what we know as canon, but from some legends as well. And so I liked it a lot. I want to know what's going to happen at this upcoming meeting. Who's all going to be in attendance there. I'd like to kind of see if maybe we could get a Vader in that moment as well, but or something close to him, or like at least kind of where the Empire's at, because we don't really know what Vader's doing at this time. I think this is like 5 years before um, A New Hope. So
Yeah.
we don't really know exactly what he's doing right now. So I'd like to get a little bit into that. But it was good. I liked it. I thought this episode definitely brought it back in. I felt like I was watching Star Wars, and it started to definitely change my opinion on the series so far.
I actually think we do know what Vader's up to right now, Matty B. From watching Kenobi, it looks like him and his Inquisitors are trying to snuff out the last inklings of the Jedi, trying to hunt him down at this point. So I
Yeah,
think,
there's just like a 5 year gap or something, I
yeah,
think. But yeah, I mean, he could just be doing that. But if they stick at all with, and I've heard a lot of this online, and it's not going to happen, but a lot of people are giving Star Killer references
yeah,
because this would actually be around that time if they were to canonize him. But they're not going to do that because they would have to nerf him. They would have to soften him down because he's just too powerful. It would sort of demean how powerful the Skywalkers were supposed to be if they added him to canon. But yeah, the whole thing is pretty interesting.
yeah. We got
So
a
this
comment
this
here from Rick Kane as well. Somebody watching us.
Rick, going on, Rick. Rick's been following us for a long time, so it's good to see him again. He's also probably the biggest hockey fan you'll ever meet, I think.
Yeah, go
Uh,
Sharks.
Go Sharks. Rick says he enjoyed episode 4 of Andor as well, even if he didn't enjoy the first 3 episodes either. So, agreed. He's in agreement. Definitely a step up. Also, as a joke, Vader's just sitting around licking his wounds after getting his ass kicked by Kenobi like a few years probably before this. So yeah, that's what's happening. Not a
Yeah,
few
he got his
years,
ass
but
kicked twice. He got his ass kicked twice.
yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. One says Anakin, one says Vader, or it just depends on how you feel when Vader was born. So yeah, could be twice, right? But yeah, he's probably just on oh gosh, I forget that planet he's on.
Mustafar
Mustafar. He's probably just soaking it all in
going
and
for a
just
What do you
little
guys think
dip in
about
the lava.
what do you guys
there
think
you
about
go.
the plan? The thing that I'm most excited about in the episode, though, was the plan that came together to use this celestial event to sort of sneak into this base, I guess, that Palpatine has um, some things in, and this event only happens like once every 3 or 4 years, so they have to
Smart.
use it. I thought that was really cool. If they're gonna do spy drama thriller, that's going to be a really cool way to do it. So, what do you guys think about that?
Thought that was really resourceful. You got to use what you have with you because, like I was saying, they didn't have a lot of money at this point, because they're all scattered out. They're small numbers, so they're not really well funded yet. But they got some money coming in. You got to make do with what you got. We've seen what they have as far as personnel. The camp only had a handful of people. Plus, you had Cassian, and the backup. The muscle was what, couple goats, that they had out there. I mean, they're trying to work with what they have, and you really have a ragtag group of people going up against the Empire and trying to wreak havoc on the funds that goes in and out, to pay the personnel. Because if you can't pay your troops, there's going to be an uprising from within, and I think that's what they're trying to do is just cause as much havoc as possible, but trying to use that celestial event as a getaway to help hopefully get you to your destination and get the heck out of Dodge before they come and get you. Even Cassian was like, "You want to do what?" And you're driving what? This kind of a transport uh, ship that's not really meant for flight, just meant to get troops from A to B. Doesn't It's not really fast. Plus, you have these TIE fighters, so I mean, they need every little piece of help they can get in that celestial event. Hopefully, it provides either a distraction or some cover. Maybe it's like a little meteor shower, and they have meteors hitting the ground there or something to kind of provide them some shrapnel. So it's harder for the TIE fighters to get to them. That's all we can hope for.
Yeah. And that is if Deidre Miro doesn't get to them first, because they played a bit of a classic trope in this episode that happens in TV a lot. The young ambitious um, person is got the whole thing figured out already, but the older authority figures are trying to stifle her down, and you know what I mean. And so it's like
She's
I
become a
wonder.
little too ambitious.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm wondering if she's gonna maybe spoil this celestial event, maybe kind of go outside of her realm there a little bit and not listen
Yeah.
to that authority. But
Kind of go
it's
rogue and do her own thing.
yeah, no pun
I
intended.
I was really interested in this kyber crystal that Luthen gave Cassian, because we don't see too many kyber crystals in Star Wars live action projects. So he used it as a down payment, and kyber crystals. I'm not 100% sure, but is this the type of kyber crystal you could use in a lightsaber? I'm assuming so, right?
I think you could
Um,
use them all in lightsabers.
yeah.
The only thing that depends for the Jedi is I think the crystal, and I don't know if this is canon or what, but what I think that it's they have to go to the place where the kyber crystals are, and then a stone has to call to them, and then
Yeah.
the stone sort of chooses them. But they are going to be using kyber in a lot of different ways, because you can see in the trailer that ship that sort of has lasers that come from the side and sort of cuts them in half. I wonder how they're going to, if that's going to be a part of the rebellion or if that's an Empire tool. But I love seeing the Kyber on the big screen and like kind of in canon live action. And it's definitely going to help them sell a lot more of those at Galaxy's Edge.
They got a little stingy at Galaxy's Edge, man. There's
Really?
slim pickings too. There's slim pickings. It's not The inventory isn't what it used to be, Teddy. Let's put it like that.
I'll take your word for it. I have not been yet, so maybe by the time I get going, inventory will be back up to
Well,
par.
maybe we should start planning a trip with the Geekcast to go over there.
Ooh, I know Maddie's down.
I'll go. Yeah.
Yeah, man. As long as they got Miller Lite for me and Maddie, we're happy,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. Let me just sell my house, and then we'll talk about going.
There you go.
I'm intrigued, right? This, like I mentioned earlier, this feels like a setup episode. A lot of just knowledge dumping and info dumping throughout this episode. But I think next episode uh, should be kind of a big spectacle, and I hope that the majority of the episode deals with this plan that they're going to put into place, and this whole celestial event that they're talking about. I want to see what it looks like because the way they made it sound, sounds like something pretty incredible to witness. So how they plan on doing that and the special effects and all that, what it's going to look like, all very interesting. I like seeing new things in Star Wars projects, and so all of this is very new, and I'm very interested in seeing what it's going to go down and look like. Also, in Luthen's store, I don't know if anyone mentioned it before, but there was like a statue of some armor standing in one of the backgrounds of the scenes, and apparently this is an armor that was worn by Starkiller, or at least very similar to the one that Starkiller wore in Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. I played the first two. I played the both games, and it's never been a thought of mine that they would try and canonize the Force Unleashed games because it was all about Vader getting a new Padawan and potentially taking over the Emperor and overthrowing the Emperor. And I never thought they would actually try and potentially canonize the Force Unleashed games, but this is interesting. You're kind of throwing this out here that, this could be the armor of the one and only Star Killer. Maybe it's something they decide to kind of dabble with a little bit, and maybe it's a project they decide to put out there. I don't know, Joe. What are your thoughts? Would you like to see the Force Unleashed games put into live action?
Of course. I mean, who wouldn't,
More
If
Vader,
it
right? More Vader.
more Vader. Yeah, I mean, it's you if you played The Force Unleashed and you played both games, you were in for quite a ride. A lot of action, great storytelling. And that's what kind of enthralls you and grips you into the game and gets you deeper and deeper into the storyline as you get, go about and transgress the game. Uh, Very rich character there, so you're gonna want if you're gonna want that to come to light on, in live action, what better way to kind of drop little Easter eggs here and there? There's been rumors, I heard the same thing like Maddie B heard, that maybe they might want to try to either kind of have him referenced a little bit further in this, series Andor, or there's talks too, oh, there might be a cameo. I really doubt a cameo, but if you can actually maybe hear the name drop or something of that nature, I think fans would get like extremely excited. Oh wow, it is canon now. They name drop the guy, Star Killer. And that would really start uh, getting Twitter, on fire right there, because social media would just go nuts over
That
that.
would blow
And
up.
what
That would blow up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and what better way to kind of, make this canon by just a name drop? Something as simple as a name drop. It would mean the world to fans. You don't have to put the character into the series, but just name dropping would be amazing,
It would be interesting. Matty B, what about you? Did you ever play the Force Unleashed games?
Oh yeah. I don't know. I because the way we know canon now with the sequel trilogy, we know that Palpatine was working with clones to try to develop Force sensitive clones, which was very much what was going on in the Force Unleashed games. Except for it was Darth Vader who was trying to, make his apprentice. But Galen Merrick is just too strong. Um, the way the Force Unleashed had made him, I don't know who would even be able to beat him. I don't know. I mean, he would be a, no pun intended again, a force to be reckoned with. I mean, he people would already know his name and that sort of thing. And this armor isn't necessarily old enough to be an antiquity if that's the case. So I'm okay with them toying with the idea of Vader trying to clone force sensitives to get a maybe a new apprentice, and maybe this is the type of armor that he wanted that to be. But I don't know about bringing in Galen Merrick because they would have to just change everything about the Force Unleashed to make it work. And the Force Unleashed is a canon, so they definitely can make changes. But it's just Starkiller was way, way too powerful to enter into a grounded series like this.
Yeah, they would definitely need to change things and condense the story, but hit all the high points. Do as many of the beats as you can. But this is still intriguing. A
I
lot of
think it's
people
very
are taking
intriguing.
notice. Yeah, and it's not something they've really talked about before. I don't know how many times anything from the Force Unleashed has been sort of mentioned in any projects, or if anything's little Easter eggs here or there. So
I don't
I
think
guess
anything at all.
I can't
That may have
remember.
been
Yeah,
where we got the Inquisitors for the first time outside of a book or a comic book. Maybe the games were the first time we heard it. Was that before the Clone Wars, the animated show, or I think it may have been like the first
yeah.
game.
Look that up.
Um, but yeah, that may have been our introduction to the Inquisitor. It was mine. I know that the first time I really remember being engaged with that would have been. But who knows?
Awesome. And
Yeah.
we would hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on Andor episode 4? How excited are you for the next episode where this ragtag team is going to put their plan into place? Expect some big action sequences. We kind of know Cassian's going to make it out alive, right? But how will this go down? It sounds like a foolproof plan, but nothing ever goes as smooth as it's supposed to. So we'll see exactly what happens. But let us know what your thoughts are in the chat, or you can always email us on the contact page of our website at www.countdowntothegeekcast.com.
Yeah, I say that we pull a lateral and we just go in straight into ranks.
What are you talking? What are you?
Let me
Ah,
have my fun with Maddie B, man. Come on.
okay, we can do it.
No, I'm just playing. I mean, let's go and follow the schedule, but I just like throwing that out there for Maddie. I just like to see his eyes get big.
No, I get very excited when my friends are excited about something. I decided I'm going to leave the hate behind me, and I'm going to turn a new page, and I'm going to be excited for you guys to love it. So anytime you want to talk about it, I'm here to listen.
But you said you hadn't seen the most
Yeah,
recent episode, right?
No, I haven't. I'm
you,
done watching it for
you
now.
bowed out, dude.
Yeah,
And
Man,
it's not for everyone, and that's okay,
no.
you know?
And we
yeah,
should be
but it
allowed to
was
do
it was
that,
really
right?
good.
Yeah.
And I heard this one was really good, but I didn't want to go back and watch the other one because now you dig yourself a hole where I have to watch it for 2 hours. So
It's a
now the
slow
whole is
burn, dude. It's not hot D. It's not Maddie's cup of tea, man. That's okay.
I
That's
have a short
okay.
attention span.
For now, we're gonna stick with the mouse ears, and stick with Disney here. She-Hulk episode 7, titled "The Retreat," and it goes a little something like this. We start out with Jen getting ghosted. Didn't think that was gonna happen. Blonsky apparently is a life coach. El Aguila, Sorson, Porcupine, and Mambull invite Jen to their therapy circle. And I apologize for being right about Josh. He is, in fact, a D bag. And I thought it was a long shot, but it turns out he's working with the villains. So I meant it as a joke. I didn't think it was going to happen. Turns, but it is what it is. So episode 7, titled "The Retreat." I thought it was a lot of fun. I was laughing throughout. This show is so damn charming, and it's just it's entertaining. So I want to hear from you guys now. Matty B, your thoughts on The Retreat?
This one was better than the last episode. It's been better than um, some of the episodes so far. I mean, I really liked episodes 1 and 2, and then 3 was okay. But this one kind of brought me back to really enjoying it. I liked them exploring the ideas and the struggles of adult dating. Um, I and because I've been in those positions before. I mean, obviously, I'm in a good relationship now, but getting ghosted, it sucks,
Oh man.
and constantly scrolling the text messages, hoping that you'll get a reply. I really liked what they did with Blonsky in this episode, and it sort of justifies all those quirky things that they were talking about during the trial. He does have this set up. We got some great callbacks to with Porcupine and Manbull and all of that. But really, watching Jen open up, like for real, she's always like very flippant about her emotions and even sort of sarcastically plays them off. But she just let it go in this episode, and we really got to dive into her a little bit more. So I loved that. And then of course the ending, where we figure out that Josh was, he's playing for the other team. He's not gay, but he's playing against the villains.
Right.
So it's
Whoever
it's
they may
just,
be.
yeah. And so hopefully we get into that. But this one felt really good to me. When I got done watching, I was like, wow, okay, this is kind of bringing me back into the fold too. So we're 2 for 2 so far. Andor brought me back, and She Hulk kind of brought me back on this one as well.
And if you were watching Rings, it would have brought you back too, and you could have been 3 for 3. I'm just kidding.
I can't let you guys be right.
Joe, your thoughts on episode 7?
Yeah, episode 7 was it was like again, it's a different vibe, than
Totally.
the other previous episodes, and it dives a little bit deeper, and like Maddie was saying, into to Jen, like revealing a little bit more about how she really feels, not trying to disguise herself behind the She-Hulk, and use that as an escape, but saying, "Hey, this really does bother me. This is what affects me. This is how I feel." I think that was pretty cool, being able to share that with the group, because then it kind of made her feel better to get it off her chest, and then you get to meet this other cast of characters. And Man Bull, who'd have thought we were ever going to see that obscure character in the MCU period, is more or less coming out in one of the Marvel series. He's a foe of Daredevil. So I think it's fitting that you have Manbull put in, and we know Daredevil's going to make an appearance sooner rather than later. We just don't know what episode he's going to make an appearance in. But then you have the swashbuckler as well, and that irony, the swashbuckler versus the bull, and then Porcupine. I mean, what a great character. I mean, he never wanted to take off his mask and nothing, didn't want to get the suit cleaned. And then finally, when he takes off the mask, he's like, "Hey, I'm sharing," and then you see the guys are just looking at him and they get the smell and he's like, "Whoa."
Let's
Even
not
the
do that
dry
again. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and then the funny thing is, like, when you start watching the end credits for this episode, you just get to see the not Man Bull, but Porcupine taking his costume to the dry cleaner, and she's like, "Oh, it stinks," It was all fun and games, but the thing is, we kind of forget about Emil Blonsky. He's a freaking badass before he became this, I guess, changed man.
Right.
I mean, let's say he's the only human that was able to hold his own against the Hulk, and he wasn't necessarily powered up to that level yet. But I mean, when you go and watch the Hulk and you see what Emil Blonsky was doing there, I mean, the dude is a badass, and I think sometimes people forget how great of a soldier and how great he was in hand-to-hand combat and the things that he could do before he became the Abomination, and you're just kind of seeing him now in his little zen phase. And I still don't trust him though, man. There's something about him that I'm just not believing, dude. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid, and then you get to go and see that
Ooh.
one of the guys that's part of Emil Blonsky's crew, or on this retreat with him, is one of the guys that went ahead and attacked Jen. Like, she was all mad, getting upset with the guy, and then, "Oh no, it's cool, it's cool." At the end of the day, you gotta figure out something, man. Who's the man behind all this pulling the strings, or woman behind all this, pulling the strings? I just don't think Emil's just as squeaky clean as he appears to be. I think he might have some other nefarious intentions.
Are you ready to call out Emil Blonsky as the man in the shadows? Is that what you're saying?
I'm thinking he's the man in the shadows, dude. Again, it's always the person that you least suspect, and they keep showing him as a person who has turned a new leaf. He's learned from his mistakes. He wants to be a good person. But let's not forget, why did they even go over there to begin with? Because there was a malfunction with his inhibitor.
That's right.
Why? He's like, "Oh, well, I hit an electric fence." Man, we saw the compound. We didn't see not one electric fence. There's something else going on here. So I'm not believing what he's preaching, you know?
What's interesting is that at the end of the episode, Josh texts somebody, and I believe the person goes by the nickname Hulk King, and so maybe that's kind of in dealing with what you're saying. Um, Blonsky is thinking that he should be the king of the Hulks, or he should be superior in strength and power, and that maybe he needs Jen's blood to actually perfect the serum that runs through his veins, because he doesn't have Banner's blood the way Jen's does. He was part of the science project,
Yeah.
and things didn't go as smoothly. So perhaps he needs it to perfect whatever's going on with him. If I had to take a shot in the dark, if I had to take a guess, I am on board with you that it's always someone you least expect. But I think it's someone even lesser than Blonsky. I think it's going to be somebody with her place of business, a boss or a colleague, something along those lines. I don't know if it's. I want to believe that Blonsky has turned over a new leaf and that this is all genuine. I want to believe that. So we'll see what happens.
Don't
Maddie,
drink
what
the
about
Kool
you?
Aid. Don't drink the Kool Aid, Teddy.
Yeah, I think I don't know. One thing this show has done is not follow a typical pace of a TV show. So they've surrounded us with um, people who could be potential enemies. I mean, it could be someone from this website that we found out last episode. It could be Blonsky. It could be her boss. It could be whoever those a group of guys were with who were trying to take her out in what is that, episode 2 or episode 3? Who tried to get her blood then. I don't know. They've surrounded us with so many possible characters. It does kind of make sense though, because Manbull being sort of a nemesis to Daredevil, that if Jen is teaming up with Daredevil at some point, then maybe Blonsky has this team of characters here to sort of antagonize. But I again, I this show, I have zero clue. I'm just gonna go along with it because it could be a lot of things. I'd like to believe that Emil is holding it down and maybe could help her even now that Bruce is kind of out of the picture. If she needs something big to come in and help her out, because she is new at this. So while she's strong, she doesn't know, like she's brand new. I don't even know how she knows how to fight. Does that come with the Hulk blood? Um, so she may need some help down the line here. So I don't know. I'm holding out for Emil there because I like his turnaround and his little Zen character, even though he's a raging monster on the inside.
It's a fun episode. It's a fun
Yeah,
episode. These are all cartoonish characters, and think some people were waiting for like a character arc for Jen, and I didn't need one. But like, here you go. Here's her growing as a person. Here is her not being so dependent on She-Hulk, even though to begin with she didn't really want these powers and to deal with the ramifications of having these powers, but now she's growing as a person, and she's learning how to sort of cope better with it, and find her inner Jen Walters, if you will. So, fun episode. I had a great time. These other cats, I hope we see them again because they're fun. I am really in. I was a little perplexed that like this guy did try to attack you before and you don't ask why, or like did somebody pay you to do this. I thought that would have came up like really quickly, and then we would have gotten somewhere. But I think she does feel like this is a one-off thing. It was just a happenstance random act that occurred and there's nothing really more to it. So we shall see. Not many more episodes left. This was episode 7, so we got what, 2 more left now?
yeah. It's just enough time for us to realize that the Hulk King is Kingpin, and we're gonna have him on the big screen.
Ooh. Now that would be something. That's like, wow, what an episode. If that in fact did happen, you have a cameo by Kingpin and Daredevil. Be like, whoa.
That would be interesting. We want to hear from you guys. What did you think about episode 7 of She Hulk titled The Retreat? Let us know in the comments below, or you can always send us a message by clicking that send message button on Facebook. And if you were listening to this as a podcast, in podcast form, please send us an email. Let us know what you're thinking about these shows. What are your questions? What are your theories going forward? You can email us on the contact page of our website at www.countdowntothegeekcast.com. Now let's get to Maddie's favorite discussion. We're going to be talking about Hot D, House of the Dragon, episode 7. And things are really moving along now that we're dealing with mostly adults. All the kids have been replaced by new kids, and they're even more terrible than the last ones. But episode 7, titled Driftmark, we start with a summary, and it goes a little something like this. We open on the funeral of Lady Lena. Though Rhaenyra's children wish they could mourn the loss of their father, Sir Harwin. Daemon declines King Viserys' invitation to return home, but takes his daughter once more. Aemond loses an eye for taking Vagar on a joyride, and we end the episode with Rhaenyra proposing a bold new arrangement to Daemon, but will it come back to burn them in the end? That is a question, and that's a question I'm going to pose to you guys. But first, Joe, we'll start with you. What did you think about episode 7 of House of the Dragon?
Yeah, it was a good one. Things are starting to move along a little bit quicker now. And if again, if you're one of the people who've read the books, like I have, like I said, it was a recommendation of one of my friends, so I read the books. You know what's going to happen next. So a lot of the things that are happening within the family is dynamic is really it really came to a fever pitch in this episode. One of the best things I think uh, to me that they've done so far in this series is show the awkwardness that is going on within the family, especially in just in the introduction. You're here to mourn the loss of Damien's wife, and you're in the Driftwood Kingdom, and everybody's kind of reunited, a family reunion. And you know that Rhaenyra's at odds with Alicent. There's division there between the family, of course, because of the kids as well. The rumors that surround Rhaenyra that are being spread by Alicent, and everything else that's going on. All these other little uh, political moves, from all these other players. And it's just one of these settings, it's just setting everything up, showing you everybody who's going to be involved and what's going to be happening. And everyone's just quiet, kind of just looking at each other. Should I go talk to her? Should I not talk to this person? What do we do? Everybody's just staying to themselves. And the king's kind of glancing over there, looking at Damien. Then he kind of glances back, and then finally he goes over there to have a talk with his brother. But Damien's had enough too. Like he's like, I don't want to have this conversation with you. And the king's like, even though we've had our differences, come back home. And he's like, nah, F you, dude. I don't want nothing to do with you. I don't need your help. I mean, Damon, he's just petty like that. You got to love the pettiness. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
he's embraced it, and he's just running with it. But, even the king of the Driftwood Kingdom, he sees his son, mourning the loss of his sister, and he's just in dire straits, just in the water, just you don't even know where he's at. And the way he just goes and grabs him, the king's lover, and he's like, in other words, go get your patron, go get your boy. You don't know where he's at or what's going on. And another fun thing that was happening too is you get to see Aegon, I think it was one of the children of Viserys and Alicent. He's just there, just boozing it up, man.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
taking full advantage of the free wine, Maddie. Free beer, free wine. I'm here for it. And the kid's just getting plastered, and he gets so drunk. I mean, Otto just goes and just kicks him, and he's like, "Get your ass over here, boy. Go to sleep, go to bed. You're embarrassing us." So a lot of things going on there. But one of the interesting things that happened is one of the Viserys' sons goes and makes his move, because there is a dragon that is up for grabs.
Right.
One of the biggest
The
dragons.
biggest one.
Yeah, the biggest one is up for grabs, and the kid, I forget his name. Do you
Aemond.
know? Yeah. He,
Aemond.
yeah, he's pretty scared of the dragons. We've seen in the previous episodes he has this affinity for him. Then he kind of gets scared of their imposing size and the fire and whatnot, so he backtracks and leaves. But this time he's like, no, he knows that he's got to make his move, even though he's scared, and he doesn't want to do it. He inches closer and closer and closer and closer, and finally makes his move. And to my surprise, and I think to the surprise of everybody else, we thought, man, this kid's gonna just meet his demise right here. Dragon's gonna have him for lunch. or turning him into a crispy critter, a little McNugget. But no, I mean, the kid talks to him and tells him to stand down. The dragon looks like he's kind of in a standoff with the kid, and then he kind of stands down and reluctantly lets the kid mount him. And then they go off for a flight, and that basically seals the deal. From that point on, there's the bond. So the kid comes back feeling like a badass, and starts wanting to, start some shit. And of course, you know, the girls, their mom just died, and they're like, "This is our mom's dragon. We're gonna lay claim to it." He goes, "Well, if that's what you were gonna do, you would have done it." In other words, you
That was
snooze, you lose.
cold.
That was cold. You snooze, you lose. Even though you're in mourning, tough shit. And he just shows how much of a dick he is. And then he starts pushing the kids around and starts punching the girls, and then the Rhaenyra's sons get involved, and he starts pushing them, punching them, and breaks one of their noses. Then he's trying to show, like, I'm just gonna kill you guys, because you're little bastards. He even tells them as much, and the brothers work together, which was interesting. You see this kid just laying waste to all the other kids, and one of the brothers throws sand in his eyes, and the other one finally just makes a move and gets the blade and cuts his eye out. He's a
That was
nasty cat there.
crazy. Yeah.
And these are kids, but I think they know what's at stake too. It's like, it's either you kill me or I make a move and stand up for myself. So it's a
Plus
political
their
thing.
parents are like putting their own insecurities on them, and putting them into the whole political game, even though half of them don't really care about it. But
But it's
the
foreshadowing.
parents are forcing all these insecurities on them. So
Yeah, but it's foreshadowing. That was a pivotal scene in this series right now, and also in this particular episode, what was going on with the kids, because it's foreshadowing things to come, you know.
I believe
And
it.
I think one of the interesting things in the episode, it was all foreshadowing, as we see it near the end of the episode, when of course, the Kings and Alicent are all talking, the family's all together, and she's very distraught that they hurt her son. He doesn't have an eye, and the King's reluctant to pass judgment on, well, let's take another eye from one of the other kids to call it even. We're square. And he's like, no, no. The king just wants peace at this point. He's like, we're all supposed to be getting along together. We're family. We should not be at odds with each other. But there's already been so much stuff going on in the background. They're at the point of no return.
Yeah.
There ain't no going back to the way things were. And there you go. You have Alicent picking up the blade, coming straight at Rhaenyra, and Rhaenyra's finally, had enough of her too. And she goes, now everybody sees you who you finally are, like I do, because she cut her, and she knew, Alicent knew that she just went too far. And Rhaenyra's like, yeah, I got you. I got you to let your guard down, and you let emotions get the best of you. But again, it's something that was really interesting, because then you see the division there. you know Sir Christian's coming to her aid and is going towards the kids, and then Damien steps in and kind of pushes him, like, where you going? And at some point, you see this interesting dynamic. The camera does it on purpose. It stops, it pans abruptly, and it goes to the left, and you see Rhaenyra, the Driftwood King, and you see Damon, and they're in her corner. And then it pans to the right, and you see Alicent, all dressed in green, the greens, and you see who's in her court. So there's your players right there. You already know what's up. It's like, this is my crew, and this is Rhaenyra's crew, and this is Alicent's crew. So the
The
shit's about.
line is the line has been drawn. Those are your
Yeah.
factions right there.
Yep, there's about to get, it's about to happen now, So interesting, dude. Just a bunch of foreshadowing, setting things up, and everything's at the turmoil came to a head now. So, some battles are gonna be coming up soon.
Matty B, I know you're a big fan of this series. How does this episode rank for you?
It's great. It's up there. For the small amount of action, it definitely made up for it in some juicy bits.
Yep.
I'm very interested in like Eamon, for example, because he's the second or the lesser brother, so to speak, to Aegon, who's named after the Conqueror, and who his mom has been telling him his whole life, I don't care about Rhaenyra over here. You're going to be the king. So he kind of has Aemon kind of has a bit of a Daemon side to him. And it's funny because of them being family that there's that dynamic there of the lesser brothers. I saw great parallels between their characters in this episode.
Remember, they even reminded the kid that they gave him a pig.
Yeah. And I thought it was really good. I don't remember the one thing that confused me about this, and maybe I just had maybe zoned out of the last bit of the last episode, but because I know the Hand of the King
Otto.
was killed. No, but like Otto was not
Yeah.
he got fired, but he's just back in this episode. He
Yeah.
wasn't reinstated last episode, was he?
No. So
Not
what
last
happened?
episode. It was
Yeah,
this one.
I can kind of explain what happened. So when Rhaenyra's, I guess, father of the kids went to his kingdom, and the Hand of the King at that time was Rhaenyra's baby's daddy. Said, I'm
Yeah,
going to take my son back, make sure he gets there safe. And then they set fire, and all that. We know pretty much he met his demise. I guess at that point in time, the Hand of the King at that point, he's just distraught, dude. So he just resigns and basically says, I can't go on. So there's kind of like a 10 or 11 year gap there. And what happens is that Viserys goes ahead and brings back Otto. That's why you see that scene with Otto, and you see that
he's putting
lapel,
the pin back on
and
it.
he's
Yeah.
putting the pin back on. It's symbolic as I'm back. I'm back.
Yeah.
So he's the Hand of the King again.
Yeah, and it's clear that their plan is they're trying to work out this plan. I just don't see how in the world with Damon and Rhaenyra teaming up now that they're going to be able to. I mean, Allison is going to have to really put something together. And I know you've read the books, but I mean, it's pretty forced to be reckoned with those two together, especially with the
No
king
doubt.
being so weak.
Power couple.
And then, but basically, what's going to have to happen is that Allison's going to have to find a way to kill Rhaenyra. So the king has to name a new heir before he dies, right? That's kind of the
There's
goal.
there's a lot of things that are going to be coming up here in
Yeah.
these last couple of episodes, and it's going to get real Game of Thrones, Maddie. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to ruin it for anybody that's watching. I know spoilers, but you've seen what's happening thus far, and I think if you saw some of the snippets, the trailer of what's going to happen in next week's episode,
Yeah.
again, it's you basically see everything that you need to know right away. They didn't really show a lot, but they showed you enough to know what's going to happen. So a lot of sneaky stuff is going to be going on, Maddie. You're going to be like mind blown. Holy shit, what's
Yeah.
going on?
I'm
That's yeah. We're going to have a lot to talk about in next week's episode.
I'm most interested in what's going on with Lenor, and it was odd to me that Damon would choose an assassin so close to Lenor. How do you know that he's going to choose to be loyal to you over his partner, so to speak? I feel like that was a big risk that Damon was taking, and then we see the death, and it was all well choreographed and well done. But then we see Lenor at the end of the episode
Alive and well.
paddling away, and so I'm actually questioning now. Okay, so is his partner? Did Carl warn him and say, "Hey, listen, this is what I've been paid to do. We have two options. Number one, we take them out now, or number two, we can go live like kings on the other side of the ocean, and people won't bother you again. You could be free, all that good stuff." Because Leno was actually very loyal to Rhaenyra in this episode. He was saying like, "Look, I haven't been doing my job. I can do a whole lot more. I'm going to commit to you." And after he said all that, she still chooses to like ice this guy. So I'm
But I
wondering
think I
if
think that was her plan. I think Damon knew that too. They're like, hey, just go over there
oh, I don't
and
think so.
go do your thing, and then because we need to take care of this here. I don't think
Ooh,
there.
that
I don't
that's
think.
that's interesting. I haven't considered that. I'm actually thinking that Lenor saw it as an opportunity, or Lenor and Carl saw it as an opportunity to jet.
I
But
think you're both wrong, man. Listen to what Damien told Lenore, or the lover. He
Carl,
told him, yeah, he told him basically, there's a place you can go where people don't care what you do or who you are. You can live in peace and harmony or whatever, together, you know,
did he
and
say together? I didn't hear that part.
well, kind of, he
I don't
was
remember
alluding to
that.
that, and he gave him a sack of gold, and basically he goes, make sure you do this in front of an audience, kind of like alluding to wink, wink, whatever happens, happens, but we just need you to play your role. In other words,
Yeah,
and
Rhaenyra didn't want to kill him. I don't think she
yeah,
just needed him out of the picture.
she wanted him out of the picture, and I think Damien went and just said, "Hey, I'm going to give you this money, tell you kind of what to do, wink, wink. Whatever you decide
Mhm.
to do, that's on you. I don't want to know." They don't want to know anything, because if they know, and somebody tortures them, they're going to be forced to say something. So at this point, for all intents and purposes, they hey, the guy's dead. You can go off and live your lives, the rest of your lives, in happiness. And we're
But
going to take care of things here.
you're playing a dicey game with pissing his dad off.
That's true. But I mean, how much can that family endure? They just lost their daughter, and now,
Mm.
Yep.
it's like they think that they lost their son too. And the
Yeah.
interesting dynamic here is, the whole thing is that the king of the Driftwood Kingdom, he wants to go ahead, and it looks like he wants to give the kingdom to one of Rhaenyra's sons. you
Mhm.
know so much so that the wife is saying, like, no, it belongs to our heirs, the girls. You should name them as heirs to the kingdom. And he's like, it doesn't matter, people don't remember your blood, they remember a name. And he lets go of her hand. He's like, I think he's already made his decision. He wants to give the kingdom to the kid. He even told him, it's your birthright. you know he wants to pass it on to a male. you know and I think he's already made his choice.
Even though he's been supporting his wife all these years for being overlooked as ruler
Yeah.
of King's Landing, but now he's willing to overlook the daughters. So interesting choice. Yeah, I have not considered that Damon was actually suggesting that they fake Leonor's death. I To me, I thought, like, he was actually paying him to kill him, and perhaps Carl was the one that was like, let's just use this as an opportunity to get away. So that's interesting. I wonder if we will find out more if Lenor ever turns up later down the road, and this all goes, everything hits the fan after that.
Yeah,
If he
but
ever
think,
decides
why
to
did
come
Damon
back,
tell him that though? Why did he say there's a part, or a place you can go where they don't care who you are or what you do?
because Carl doesn't have a name. Carl has ambition, but he doesn't have a royal name, a royal last name. So I thought it was more about Carl kind of going up the ladder.
No, I took it as he was telling them, take the money, get your boy, and
Get
you all
out of
can live in happiness.
here.
Make sure you do it in front of an audience. I mean, he basically laid out the whole plan for him without telling them. He's like, you're smart enough to pick up the rest.
It's gonna be
All
interesting
right.
to see once if Rhaenyra gets pregnant here from their consorting, because if she has a blonde hair baby, Damien will be able to use that and be like, oh well, now these bastard kids, no, they don't get to be the heir. My son and the true Targaryen is going to be able to
Yeah.
be the heir. So I
Yeah,
think he has that in his head too.
Damon's gonna say, "Fuck them kids." You
Yeah.
know.
I did something I normally don't do. I watched next week's episode, and the only thing that I really took from it is that there's going to be another time jump. It looks like Amond, especially, looks a little older in age. So I don't want to guess or venture how much time has passed, but it does look like we're gonna have a few more years of a time jump
No.
between this episode and the next one. So
Patch,
very
the patch
interesting.
suits him well.
Yes, yes, it does. All
Hey, but
right, and we want to hear from you guys.
I was
What?
gonna say the kid was very ballsy though. I mean, he knew what was up. It's up for grabs, and he even said, "I'm willing to give up 1,000 eyes because shoot, I got this dragon." So it's like, and then Otto's like, "He kid is right. He gave up an eye, but he gained a dragon." So he was proud of his grandson.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Want to hear from you guys. Let us know what your thoughts are on House of the Dragon. What are your theories going forward? How does this all play out? We want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And Joe and I are most likely going to discuss this final topic of the night ourselves. And it's an exciting one. Rings of Power, episode 6. If you ask me, this is the one that the whole beginning of the season has been leading towards, and it's something that we've been talking about for a long time. Summary is a little long. I'm gonna try and get through it as fast as I can. It goes a little something
Thanks.
like this: Rings of Power, episode 6, titled Udun. Adar and his army reach the watchtower. Arondir has other plans and sets a trap for them by bringing down the tower upon them. They rig a second trap in the village that seems to work, but to their dismay, they weren't fighting orcs. The majority had been men from their village. The orcs fire arrows upon the remaining villagers who fall back into the fortified tavern. As the orcs break through, the Numenor cavalry arrives. Galadriel and Halbrand are able to stop Adar from fleeing with the hilt, or so we think. The hilt he carried was a decoy, and the true hilt was taken back to the watchtower and used to tear down the dam, releasing water through the trenches Arondir and others once dug into the depths of a dormant volcano and forcing it to erupt. The origins of Mount Doom. The lands are covered in fire and ash, the beginnings of Mordor. That was the summary for episode 6 of Rings of Power. And it's something that we've been talking about since the very beginning. David's in the chat says, talking rings.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Ranks.
It's something we've been talking about in the chat. I didn't think we were going to get it this early, but we knew that these lands were the future lands of Mordor, and I thought this would be kind of how they end the first season, with maybe the destruction and everything, and seeing that all happen. But they pulled a fast one on all of us, and they did it in episode 6. And I must admit, I am a huge fan when it comes to sort of military strategic forces, but in medieval times, right? So I was a big fan of watching all those Viking shows and how they would fight against one another. This was well planned out. It was almost a huge success. Taking down the watchtower on top of the orcs, I thought was like brilliantly well done. This was an exciting episode. I loved it from start to finish. Lots of twists, lots of turns, lots of action. This was what they've been building towards. It ties a lot of things together. It ties a lot of episodes together. I'm glad that we kept talking about it. We kept going through it. I think a lot of people feel the same way we do. And if you stopped watching for whatever reason, this is what you've been waiting for. You should get back into Rings of Power. Joe, you.
Rings is really good. This was the episode that was kind of tying everything together, and I think there was some interesting revelations here. Let's not forget what Gadriel was had her little conversation with Adar. The leader of the orcs at this point. One of the telling things is that he says, "You're not going to find Sauron because I killed him." He's like, "I split him right open. I split the body right open." Even though that he knows that Sauron cannot be, for all intents and purposes, killed because he's immortal, you know, so his essence kind of lives on. But he went and made that revelation. Now, whether he's telling the truth or he's lying, that's yet to be seen. But there's a lot of interesting dynamics that also line up with what's going on with Halbrand, and I gotta say,
Yeah.
man, I'm telling you, the theory that we're talking about earlier today when we're talking chit chatting, And I told everybody my hot take is Hellbrand is Sauron. And the reason that I say that is he was running away when Gadriel first met him on that boat, didn't really say a lot. He'd done some bad things running from something, you know, and finally he was meant to meet up with her. And they wind up going to that Numenor, the island king, the island kingdom.
Right.
So they get there. And the thing is that the whole time he's a brilliant manipulator, and some of the things that he says are very reminiscent of what Sauron would say, you know, uh, the whisperings that he has, that he tells Gadriel, about the king and puts things in her head. And then what did we do? We see her just gallop off and go in and crash the party over there to see what's really going on with the king. And she finds the truth out there. The other thing is Halbrand is so hell bent when he's in Numenor, he wants to get access to what? Blacksmithing tools. So much so that he's trying to steal a crest and all this other stuff. I'm like, I'm just telling you, man, everything's lining up to where you thought the obvious choice, the red herring kind of, so to speak, would be the stranger, and it's not. I think everything's pointing to Hellbrand has been Sauron all along. He's got us all fooled.
The first thing that made me, and look, I'm gonna say that I was against the idea in the beginning, because I don't know, there wasn't a lot of evidence there. I wanted to see something more concrete on why this theory. It was a fan theory. Why this fan theory might be possible. Now that we are 6 episodes in, I am now leaning, not heavily, but I am leaning towards the fan theory that he is Sauron in either in disguise, or just he is that entity in some shape, way, or form. The first thing that I thought of that kind of was interesting is, remember when he was on Numenor and he sort of went berserk
Yeah,
on those civilians?
hand to hand
It was
combat.
it came from such a dark rage. Like, even if you are really talented and you have great fighting skills, the place that he actually went to kind of bring that out, it seemed like such a very dark place. So it was very interesting and very curious when that happened. But I think
Let's
there's
revisit that.
too there's too many little things though in this episode
Yeah,
6, that I think are meant to redirect you. There's misdirection in this episode. So even when he protects or stops, let's just say he prevents Galadriel from murdering Adar when he's chained up.
he
He
tried doing the
stops.
same thing.
He stops, and then, why is he stopping? Well, we think he's stopping because he's trying to prevent Galadriel from going to a dark place, but he could also be stopping because he needs Adar for something else.
No,
And then also afterwards, when he is holding a sword to Adar and he says, "Do you remember me? Do you remember my face?" Or he says something along those lines.
yeah,
And Adar says no. I feel like that is such a big item of misdirection that it almost is like a slap in the face. Like, it should be probably, "Do you remember how you killed my village, or like you tore down my house, or you murdered my family?" But instead it was just, "Do you remember me?" And it just feels like the beginning of a plot twist, a well-written plot twist that we're going to see happen probably in these next few episodes here. Um yeah, and it's all just gonna lead back to one of these moments. There's so many little items of misdirection in this episode that could be. I'm not gonna say are for sure. I'm gonna say they could be misdirections that I feel like, I'm now jumping on the bandwagon that, Hallbrand. There's more than meets the eye with him, and also I was taken back by one shot of Hallbrand where he's got his either hair tied or it's just blowing in the wind or something, and the sun's shining in his face, and you see a lot of like darkish reddish hair, and I feel like this looks more like Viggo Mortensen and that in that one shot as Aragorn than ever. Like it can't be coincidence that he looks like a younger brother of Viggo Mortensen. I think Viggo Mortensen at some point in Lord of the Rings would fight, and either his hair when it was in the sun or something would look more red than anything else, or maybe it's another movie I'm thinking of, but he looks so much like Aragorn in that one shot that I feel like it just can't be coincidence. And I don't know what it's meant to do, what it's meant to show us. He can't be a an ancestor of Aragorn. We already know Aragorn's lineage, so I don't know what to make of it. It just feels like it's so intentional because you can't overlook something like that.
Yeah.
David says the creators of the show are doing a great job of leaving character identities open ended. Yeah, no, I agree completely. And they're making us do this and question everything. So yeah, they're doing a fantastic job of that.
I was gonna say one of the things that I think was very telling about Halbrand is when he was in Numenor, right? And he was with the all the other guys, and he's just having a he's eating his food, and they kind of are asking him questions. Hey, you've been here, kind of antagonizing him. And then during that scene, they said, "What is your name?" And he goes, "I go by." Basically, he was saying, "Depends on who's asking," you know. And they come over to the table, and they had a conversation, and it's basically he's just saying, "I go by many names." So does Sauron. And Sauron actually despises the name Sauron. He does not like that name at all. He doesn't, so much so that if you read the books, he doesn't even let his followers call him that or refer to him by that name. He despises it. He absolutely hates it, you know? So that's interesting as well. He calls himself something totally different, a name that was given to him before I guess he became this dark entity, and his name before actually meant something totally different than what it means when he's given the name of Sauron. So again, a lot of the things that that Halbrand is doing, again, it's just setting everything up. It's like it's laid out for you already. I really think that Halbrand is 100% in my eyes Sauron. I could be wrong, but I'm thinking I'm not. You know.
Yeah. Legacy Nerd says they don't talk about the mother lineage, do they? No, they never do. And maybe that's something that could happen, but
They never did it in the books, so I don't think they're going to do it here.
well, that's the thing though. This show is trying to fill gaps where the books had gaps, trying to fill in those gaps that the books left open. So, you know, we we will find out maybe if that's something that they might tap into. Legacy Nerd also says if Aragorn is a descendant of Halbrand, which I'm not claiming by the way, it's just weird how they look so much alike. Wouldn't that solidify him even more as the one true king of all Middle Earth? I agree. I totally agree with you. However, the thing with Halbrand that is also very intriguing is that what's his claim? Like everybody's all in on this thing, but his only claim is what, Joe?
Oh, what do you mean? What are you talking?
His only claim is that he has
Oh, that little pouch.
this little pouch with this sigil on it,
Yeah.
and it's like he has the sigil. He is the one true king, and it's like really nobody else is gonna like no DNA test, no he's not carrying some mythical weapon or anything like that, which normally is what happens.
No.
So yeah, it's like his claim, which he's done a very good job of denying most of the time. His claim is flimsy at best. If I
No.
found that thing on the ground, some people would be like, "Hey, look, he holds the pouch of our ancestors. He is the one true king." And I'd be like,
No.
yeah, sure, sure, why not?"
Well, the one thing too is like you read the books, you know that the Numerian king actually set sail with the fleet of ships to go and catch or to get Sauron, right?
Yeah,
So what happens is basically Sauron gives himself up without a fight. They bring him back to the island, right? That kind of
yep,
already happened with Halbrand, right? And the thing is that he wants to get back to the Southlands without making it look like he's wanting to get back. He says he's fleeing the Southlands because something terrible happened, you know? And I think the thing that was terrible that happened was maybe Adar did kill him, and he came back reincarnated as Halbrand. That's why he doesn't recognize him. And that's why Halbrand is so hell bent on wanting to kill him, get his revenge, as they say. That's what my kids always say. But I'm just saying it all lines up, with the books and everything else that's going on. In order to for and basically what's going to happen is Numenor is going to meet its demise, and you need Sauron there, because again, he wants to learn blacksmithing, he wants to learn all these things, he needs to know this knowledge, and he's getting little bits and pieces of information from all these other people that surround him. He's learning everything he needs to know, and he's getting gonna have access to everything he needs to go ahead and fashion the rings,
The
and then
rings.
the rings, and then he's gonna give them out to everybody, and that's gonna start corrupting them even more. But again, he says a lot of things that are very cryptic, and
Very.
to me, it just all adds up.
It leaves the opportunity for somebody to infiltrate the trust of all these kingdoms and all these people. Um, Somebody who can, pretend to be on their side to gain their trust in order to turn them into your slave. And so he's doing it the right way. If he was to just do it head on, straightforward, I'm just going to defeat all you guys and make you do this. Well, he already knows that, because his predecessor, didn't fare so well doing that either, that he has to try it a different way. I'm always going to wonder, and I hope they talk about it, that if we do find out Halbrand is Sauron, if how did he end up out in the ocean? Was it because he was attempting to do something, or was it because he knew he would run into Galadriel there? Like, how did it all start out? That's what I'm most interested to find out is how his plan was put into place. He is Palpatine of the Lord of the Rings and the Rings of Power.
Yeah,
So
his
his
other
his
name.
plan his plan had to start somewhere.
Yeah,
And so yeah, he's trying to infiltrate. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant plan. I can't wait to see and find out if we're right. If we're right, because they could do a number of things.
yeah.
Hell, let's just say the stranger is Gandalf now, because like, why not? Why can't it be
Or
Gandalf?
we could say it could be Saruman. Who knows?
There you go. Could be.
But I'm saying the other name that Sauron goes by, or his other name, is Marion the Admirable, or
Mm.
Tarj. It says Marion, King Excellent, until the downfall of Numenor. And then that's when they give him the name Sauron. you know so again, I mean, the way that the rings get forged, it's he manipulates, or kind of lies to an elf, and gets them to go ahead and forge the rings for him. So again, manipulation, deceit, disguise. He's a shapeshifter at this point. He
Yep.
can change his form, he looked totally different. So I mean, he's just in the shadows, kind of like you said, Palpatine. He's just the guy orchestrating everything, pushing and it seems like what Halbrand has done, without trying to look like he's doing anything, this whole time, Ted, he's been pushing everybody to the Southlands. Even from when Galadriel first met him on that wreckage, on that little raft or whatever. Let's go to Numenor, and they're getting closer and closer and closer to the Southlands. He's here now at the Southlands. They went ahead and just fired up Mount Doom. I mean, again, it's like you can't just ignore everything that's been going on.
This was beautiful. This was beautiful. The entire episode. I love how they tied everything together, especially these trenches. Right? You're like, why the hell are they digging trenches? Well, it's almost like, well, these orcs, they can't travel through the daytime unless they have some sort of protection. So okay, well, that's why they're digging trenches to get across lands unseen, and to protect themselves from the sunlight. And then it ends up being this whole plot to ignite this dormant volcano, Mount Doom. It's so well done. I love how they've tied it all together so far. The Harfoots, I think Legacy of Nerds, the one that's like, why are the Harfoots even here? That's what's next, right? We're gonna find out exactly what's going on with the stranger in these last few episodes. The dwarves and Elrond has to play a big part in what's going to happen in these last few episodes. There's only what, four left? Five, seven, eight,
Yeah.
nine, 10, 11. 5 episodes left, I think, of this season. So very interested to see what happens. General Kenobi, I see you. The
Uruk.
hold on. Ooh, that didn't sound like fireworks. Sorry, that freaked me out.
Hopefully everything's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I'm not. Can you call? Sorry about that. That freaked me out.
Just another day in
The
the hood, Teddy.
whew, the Uruk terraformed Middle Earth with simple tools and human suffering. Yeah, no, absolutely crazy. Uh, and he also says it was awesome. Absolutely, absolutely. All right, apologies. I'm a little weird right now. Going a little weird right now. Sorry about that. Live
Live
streams.
streams.
Wow. Joe, any final thoughts on episode 6?
No, episode 6 of Rangs was the best one so far in the series. Looking forward to what's gonna wind up going down next week. Maybe we'll get some more revealing answers on the stranger and the Harfoots, everybody's favorite.
Sorry, my bad. Say it one more time.
Oh, I said that everybody will probably get more information, about the stranger and the Harfoots, what's going on with them in this next episode because they kind of deviated from them, of course, for this epic episode to put all their efforts into Mount Doom. Yeah, I think Teddy needs to be wearing a bulletproof vest when he's doing the show from now on. He just heard some gunfire. It's like he was ready to hit the ground.
Yeah, there's a battle going on outside. That it was. I don't want to talk about this too much. It's just really
Was
weird
was it
because
just
it
one?
was no, it was extensive, and that's what really was like
That's
eye
crazy, dude.
opening because it was an extensive sort of.
May have
Well, a
been a
lot of
car.
things.
May have been a
Yeah.
car backfiring.
No, a lot
No,
of
no,
things that
no,
have
no,
been
no,
going
no, no,
on.
no, 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 no.
A
We
lot.
live in the neighborhood with a lot of fireworks kind of throughout the year. So it's unfortunately very easy to tell, mostly because of patterns, like what is this or what is not. So that was very odd. But I'm texting a few of my neighbors right now.
Yeah, crazy thing is that a lot of things that have been happening within the city lately, getting off topic a little bit, but people have taken to social media and they think it's funny or cute to, pop off a couple rounds as you're driving your car. They roll down the window and they just fire the guns in the air, post it on social media. But the problem is those bullets are going to land somewhere. And as we saw with the girl that did that not too long ago on social media, one of the bullets actually went straight through a kid's room, So I'm just like, you can't be doing stuff like that.
No, pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
These are dangerous
Uh,
times, Teddy.
yeah. I'm trying to focus now. David says, Harfoot's rock. Absolutely. I don't know. Daniel, do you agree? Legacy Nerd, do you agree? Harfoot's rock?
I know that Maddie's like I could care less about ranks.
So I'm not gonna try and push you. Joe's also gonna agree with me. We're not gonna try and push you. However, if you if I could summarize this episode, it's the episode that ties all the ones before it together. Everything kind of makes a lot more sense. And this was a big spectacle, if you ask me. Big spectacle of an episode. The special effects were great. I know JC, who's who's not on the show right now, but he said he watched it and he said he loved it. And yeah, so just so you know, Matt, if you ever are bored or you got some time to kill, maybe just catch up on the last couple episodes.
Yeah, well, that loud noise you heard was me slamming my head against the wall, even thinking about it.
All
But
right.
but maybe I'll maybe I'll try. Well, we'll see. We don't all have to watch and like everything, right? Um,
No,
that's
no,
what
no, and
the
it's not about liking it, right? Because we haven't liked a lot of these episodes beforehand, right? We've had a lot of criticisms. This was the first one that felt like, you know what, they're doing something special now.
yeah.
This was the first time,
Hopefully
yeah.
they're using some of that $1 billion um, to to beef it up a little bit. I'll watch the episode. After hearing the synopsis the last 2 weeks, I think I'll be caught up enough to at least check out the episode. So I can promise you that I will do that.
Yeah, from what I've been hearing though, the unfortunate thing is that Ranks has not been faring well in the ratings. You
Not at
know,
all.
not
You
at
know
all.
what? Last week though, it did beat House of the Dragon in ratings,
No,
and
that was
that
Nielsen ratings, which are
well,
not real. Nielsen ratings are fake ratings. Trust me, I know. You do too, Ted. You're in radio. Um, Nielsen ratings are not real. These streaming
They're padded
companies,
numbers.
well, the streaming companies know exactly how many devices are tuned in at a particular time. So there's not even a need for a Nielsen rating. It's just a way to fluff up so the investors feel like there's some ROI. But, you know. But yeah, I'll check it out again. But we have a lot of TV to watch, and taking that extra hour out of my day when I could be just sitting on the couch eating popcorn, watching anything else, it does sound pretty attractive sometimes. But
Speaking
I
of anything else, we were
oh,
privy to watch some movies from Fantastic Fest, and I watched
yeah,
Artes, which was really good. I enjoyed it.
you're gonna talk about those now?
I guess we can. We can go ahead and make.
We can totally do that. So, if anybody else, if you have theories about rings of power, or just tell us how much you liked episode 6, drop your thoughts in the comments. Also, are you on board with our theory regarding Hallbrand? We want to hear from you guys. Let us know in the comments below, or if you're listening to us on podcast, you can always email us on the contact page of our website at www.countdowntothegeekcast.com. Uh, David says this episode was good use of the IP. Absolutely. And then Legacy Nerd says, well, Hot D sucked last week. Hot D sucked. That's what she said. I'm just kidding. All right, Joe, tell us about the movie you watched. This was a film from Fantastic Fest. We were very fortunate to be invited to the festival. I talked about one of the movies already, Vesper. You can see that review on YouTube. It's very short. It's from our last week's episode. But Joe, what did you watch and what did you think about it?
Okay. Well, I watched this one film that I had been eyeing. I had been wanting to see Vesper, by the way, too. So I'm going to make sure I'm going to check the list and hopefully that's available because we're running against the clock now. That's the other film I wanted to watch. I watched a film called The Antares Paradox. And so this is a Spanish speaking film. Uh, and it was really well done. It's, of course, one of these low budget films, but beautifully shot, and the synopsis is basically there's this team of researchers that are working with the SETI project. So they're working with radio telescopes and a dark and stormy night, very imposing here. Dark and stormy night, you get one of the researchers coming in to start the shift, and just a slew of things just keep happening to her. Just bad luck. She has had the worst run of bad luck you can ever imagine. Things are breaking. All this stuff is happening in her personal life, and basically, what happens is she gets a signal, and from that point on, things get very interesting. I don't know how much I can say, but basically, it's almost in the same let's say dynamic of the movie Contact. Contact, you receive a signal
Nice.
and everybody's going crazy about the signal because there was a lot more information that came along with the signal in Contact. the one thing that Contact did is they tried to dive a real deep into religion, you know. And what the Antares paradox does, it kind of does the opposite. It really dives into the human psyche, and basically, how far are you willing to go to get what you want, what you've wanted your whole life. And it's a very interesting dynamic the way that they set everything up here. you know uh, like I said, it's very dramatic. A lot of things are going on in a very small confined space, so I think they did a great utilization of that. It kind of even gives you the effect that you're anxious, just like the character, just by watching it, because of the great utilization of the cinematography, and great acting, by the way, as well. I got to say, the lead female character did a fantastic job. So from start to finish, to me, without revealing so much, the Antares Paradox, if you get a chance to watch it, solid film. You're going to really enjoy what you're seeing out here, with a little bit of a sci-fi twist to it as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I know you were looking forward to that one for quite a while, so I'm glad you finally got a chance to check that out.
Yeah, I just don't
David
want to reveal
says,
too much, just give you a little tease. That's all we can do.
David says, nice, a Spanish, I think he means sci-fi film. I love Contact.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
if you love Contact, you're going to really love this film. And the best part about it, since it's Spanish speaking, if you speak Spanish fluently like I do, don't even need the subtitles.
Very good. I'm gonna need most of the subtitles for this one. Yeah, and if you guys are watching right now and you're interested on checking out some of these films, you can go to the Fantastic Fest website, and some of these are available to rent. I believe you can purchase also tickets to get access to a handful of these movies, or maybe more. I'm not really sure. And then also a lot of these are dropping very soon. So Vesper, which I talked about last week, I believe it's already either on demand or in theaters in some places. So I know a lot of folks were talking about Vesper last week and were interested. Be sure to check your theater listings. I highly recommend it. It's got a really good cast of characters, some who you're going to recognize, and then also it's a great story. So, yeah, Joe, thanks for watching that and checking that out. And I there's a few more I need to talk about, and I think there's a couple more that we're all going to discuss. Maddie B, have you checked out any films yet?
No, I was gonna look at some of them tomorrow. I think Country Gold was one that I was gonna check out. Um, but yeah, I was gonna watch one or two of those tomorrow. I think Wednesday's the day it cuts off. I was gone pretty much all last week, and so I've been catching up on work and everything else. But no, I'm definitely gonna check some out. I'm excited to do some of the videos and the reviews. Um, Once we're able to release those, it should be good. There's a lot of good stuff on there.
Yeah, I completely agree. Be sure to check out the listing on the Fantastic Fest website on Alamo Draft House, and yeah, more reviews to come from us. Some great films. Had a great time there, and for anybody in the San Antonio area, celebrating my birthday this week, and I can't think of another way to better to celebrate than to go check out Ghostbusters, the original film, in theaters. Come meet me and a handful of the Ghostbusters of San Antonio, where we're going to watch Ghostbusters, the '84 film, at the Park North Theater. I believe it starts at 7:40. But come by, say hi, take some photos. It's one of their special movie events. So Ghostbusters 1984, and Draft House, they always go above and beyond. So you're gonna have a good time, but come say what's up, come shake our hands. Let's take some photos, let's have a good time because Bustin makes us all feel good. David Lozano says, "Happy early birthday, Ted. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Had a great time celebrating with some family yesterday as well, and Maddie B as well. Went to go visit a local brewery, and we had a blast. Cowboys also won, so that doesn't hurt either. That's always a good thing, right? Yeah, but go check out the Draft House listings for Ghostbusters on Thursday, 7:40 p.m. Park North location. come early and say what's up to us, taking photos and all that good stuff. Should be fun. Should be a good time.
And you said this is gonna be Thursday.
Thursday night. You gonna go, Joe?
I might go. I might even dress in my little Ghostbuster onesie, man.
Yeah, that's what we're talking
To
about.
be part of the crew.
Or we can get you a Stay Puffed costume. We can get you
No,
a Slimer costume. We can
no,
do all of those things.
no. And I'd only go as Slimer if you get Jericho to go as Muncher.
That might be a little more tougher, but we'll see what we can do. Lexi Nurse says, "Happy birthday, bud. Appreciate it." David says, "Shout out to Cooper, Canelo, Rush, who's having a pretty good start to his career." I'll let Joe talk about that on his sports shows, or JC might talk about it when he does his Sports Minorities podcast
There you go, David
later on
Lozano,
this
man.
week.
My own heart. Puro pinche Cowboys.
Don't jinx it, guys. Don't jinx it. Let's not jinx it too soon. But yeah, it's exciting so far. All right, now to do it for the Geekcast. Once again, let us know what you thought about these shows. Also, email us on the contact page of our website at www.countdowncitygeekcast.com. And stay tuned. More announcements, more events going down throughout the month of October. It's the best month of the year, in my personal opinion. And there's so many things to do, so many things to check out. Yeah, very exciting. So, for the Geekcast, my name is Ted, aka Steady. Joining me on this episode is a man behind the magic. You know him as Joe Garcia.
Thank you for watching, everybody. And again, we do this show just for you guys. So if you can please go ahead and make sure you subscribe, like, and share. We greatly appreciate your support. And like always, man, if you got something to say to us, drop a line, interact with us. I mean, that's why we're here. We love interacting with you guys and talking with you. And thank you to those that did interact with us during the live stream. We appreciate it, each and every one of you. And as I sign off here, I want to give Teddy a very happy birthday.
Appreciate it, sir. It's awesome. Thank you very much. And last but not least, he'll be joining me this Wednesday for another edition of the Ghost Heads Radio Show, where we'll be talking all about Ghostbusters, having some chapters join us, and also talking about the upcoming release of Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed, the multiplayer game. It's the one only Matt B.
Crushed. We're back in the saddle. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy it's your birthday. I'm happy for Ghost Heads tomorrow. I'm happy for the event on Thursday. I believe it is, right? Um,
Thursday.
yeah. So yeah, let's do it. I'm glad to be back, and I'll try to catch that episode of Rings of Power. But again, no promises.
There you go. David Lozano says, smash that like button, and
Oh
we'll see you
gosh.
guys next week.